Hello, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Pritchard Pub.
Sub to the pub.
Tonight's guests, we got Anthony Harris and Black Knight.
Hello.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Want to go first, Black Knight?
Thank you. Well, it's been like a slow 3 weeks, but I'm back into my usual writing groove.
Oh yeah.
So
I bet that feels good.
oh yeah. It's I hope to finish that tiny children's book soon.
Awesome.
Just one chapter left.
We'll have to get a copy for Xander.
Nice. And
How you
doing
doing,
well too. Been for me kind of the opposite. Been a busy couple of weeks.
Oh yeah.
And just recently published a new book, dropped a surprise book. So yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, me too. I dropped the long-awaited second short story anthology at the beginning of this month. So yeah.
Nice. I hope you guys get a lot of success with those. You're both great authors, awesome people. I love seeing you guys put out new stuff, so it's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got a couple people coming into the chat. We got Wrangler. He says, "Hail, hail, Wrangler."
Ooh.
We got
Hail.
Readout Productions. I'm a
What's up,
mental
Readout?
mess. He says about talking about uninformed politicians and uninformed Gen Zers. How are you? We're doing good. Hope you're doing good, buddy. He says, Harris, what fountain of grind do you drink from to keep up your energy?
Discipline? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The Wim.
And,
What is it? The Wim
and
Hof.
skateboarding and doing some, what's it called?
Wing Chun? Meditation?
I'm thinking of the Chinese word. I can't remember the English word right now. Oh, sparring when I can.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I've been kind of knee deep in just making new book covers for what I got out so far. Been having fun learning and just practicing. So
Yeah, you're doing really good with all of the the design for that stuff and figuring out computer programs and.
What program do you use for your designs?
I'm just using Krita.
Ooh, yeah. I loved that cover you showed me.
We need to get Red Bull for the sponsor.
It's really nice.
Yeah, Krita is nice and free.
Yeah, I mostly use Canva.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Canva. I should check that out, honestly.
Yeah, there's free and subscribed version. I pay for the subscribed version, but it's still pretty good.
So you're in China. Where are you, Black Knight?
I'm in Bulgaria. That's it's between Greece, Serbia, Romania, and Turkey.
Awesome.
Nice.
How's the weather for you guys?
It's fine. It's we get we don't get tornadoes, but we do get like crazy snowfall, crazy rainfall, and crazy winds. It depends on the year, but sometimes the weather is really wacky.
Yeah, you don't need tornadoes.
They're telling me that back in the day, during the reign of of a certain Thracian king, there was tornadoes. Small ones, but there were. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
I grew up in what they call Tornado Alley in America.
Yeah.
Kansas?
Just like right outside. I grew up in Colorado.
Okay.
But I was I was in Colorado Springs, so just right outside of where all the tornadoes were. But I remember tornado alarms all the time, things like that.
Oh man.
Yeah, Colorado's beautiful. You get back there?
I haven't been back recently, but I would like to go back maybe next year.
Yeah. And so did you just have your first baby?
Yeah.
How old now?
5 months old. He's a huge little dude, though.
He's a kid.
He's like 20 pounds.
Little chonker.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Babies are the best.
Mm.
And Black Knight, do you have any babies?
Sadly, no. No.
Oh, that's all right.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. They are really fun.
Real quick, Ultimate Kahuna says, "Woo! Awesome people. Awesome show. I have dinner, but have a good job, guys."
You woo!
Yo, woo! Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
That woo, it's
And John Douglas says, "Good evening. Hail, John. Good to see you, buddy."
He's drawing.
Oh.
I thought he said, "Pray for me. I'm driving."
That's what I thought he said too. No.
Jayo, John, you can do it.
Yeah.
I'm an art
Hopes and
teacher,
prayers, though.
so
I
I
relate.
believe in you.
Awesome.
I relate. I'm just like I can doodle on my homework in high school a little bit, you know, draw some profile faces like from the side a little bit. Nothing like I'm seeing like some of these amazing artists in the Iron Age do, though.
Yeah. I'm jealous of a lot of them. Like I can draw like the picture you used of me. I drew that.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a good one.
But all those people are way better than I am.
My mother is a really, really talented artist. Sadly, she has a lot of we'll just call it what it is, mental illnesses. You know, like back in the day, my dad took some of her prints to work, and there were so many people that wanted to pay for her to do whatever, and she just didn't do it. I don't know why. She could have made so much money with her talent, but you know. And then she also showed me art from different times in her life, like when she was on acid. It was all really blue and creepy, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, she can just make the most wild things out of just like Crayola crayons. Like she'd draw like a wolf that looked so realistic.
Yeah.
With a box of Crayola crayons.
Yeah, that's crazy. Some people just got it, you know.
Yeah. And you know, I definitely got some of her artistic abilities, but I just don't have the patience for it. I can't just sit and do that. I've tried different periods in my life, but I actually am looking for an artist now to work with for making my own tarot or oracle deck. So I'm going to be crowdfunding that soon. It'll be fun. And I'm just going to write the book for it.
I could suggest you chat with Neutronbor, who is my well, he's not, I don't own him per se, but yeah, he's the guy I work with and who makes the covers for my Starshatter series.
You know, I would love their contact info. I was actually thinking about, you know, there's 78 cards in a tarot deck. So I was thinking maybe I could do an oracle deck with a specific artist, but maybe first I could do just a general tarot deck. And I was thinking about featuring several artists on that because you're talking about 78 pieces of art. So I was thinking maybe split it up where each person gets 5. Maybe each person
that's a great
does
idea.
1.
Yeah.
And then see who wants to just get in on it for free, just to like get their name out there to begin with. You know, if we all do it for free on our first run, something like that. But, you know, just kind of tossing ideas around, scouting out people to see what I can come up with, but I've been talking about it for a while, so it's time to just do it, especially since having medical stuff going on. So I actually recently started a really good job, and luckily I was able to take leave, so it's gonna be pretty boring if I don't get on something, Yeah. So I'm like, this would be a perfect time to work on that.
And how cool would it be? I mean, even if you're not into tarot, how cool would it be to get a deck of cards that's literally just a bunch of indie artists or like Iron Age artists, or you know what I'm saying? It's just like a collector's item at the very least. Yeah, like 5 neutron board pieces in there, something like that.
Oh yeah.
I'm really excited. It's gonna be fun. And I thought about maybe trying to do a couple myself too, but we'll see.
That'd be cool.
He did some game cards last year. He drew some like really awesome stuff for a game, like card game, and I may be mistaken, but it were like different creatures.
Oh, nice!
And like you could see that the developers who made them, they had like each card would have like information on the back, but it's a full portrait of the creature or the person or the hero or whoever awesome. He is. That was awesome. Really awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to see their work.
I think he did a really good job with the cover of the Lord Otter's book that's coming out soon.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
Lord Otter's been, and like Paladin Dragoon also, they've been putting out some good stuff.
And my newest book, he also did the cover, the Blood of Tyrants.
That's not that person, is it?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Really quick shout outs to John. He's got to turn that blob of his world Allspire into an actual map. Well, buddy, I have experience making maps. Well, I made like a couple for my world. I can help you out with that.
Is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it is. I have some things, I guess requirements, but I'm sure no one will have qualms with them. Like, I only read with tarot decks if they have people on it. It has to be racially inclusive. I'm not down with the Rider-Waite deck that's all Catholic white people. It's just not my thing. There's, and I don't want it to lean too much towards one religion. Like I want to be able to read for Christians, atheists, pagans, whatever. And yeah, so I don't have that many requirements, just besides, you have to be open to inclusion. I'm not talking about like promoting anything, just, the melting pot that the world is.
The more different examples of like everything on Earth that you have to represent within the deck, the more accurate like divination you get, because it's dependent on like random chance.
Yeah.
To an extent, and you need as many random variables within the images and stuff. That's why a lot of the objects in the images seem random, or like just kind of there. Well, they're there for a reason. It's supposed to jump out at you.
You have to think about everything too, like which way that card's facing, and there's all sorts of things that go into the. I want to do a tarot video soon too about what it means to me, basic things like that. But it's definitely based on the card's base meaning, and then your intuitive interpretations, along with like, it's important to have a deck that you connect with the art on it. And have a good time or an easy time interpreting it. I've gotten some decks where like it'll just show you a preview of 2 of the cards on the back. And I'm like, oh, these birds are so cool. So I get home and rip it open. I'm like, what is this? Trash. Like immediately just throw it away. It's just, you know, a lot of them unfortunately are the one I'm referring to specifically with the birds. I thought it was going to be a raven deck, and it was seriously like super pornographic, where I'm like, how am I supposed to interpret these cards? Like, oh, she's got one boob out. Oh, she's got two boobs out. Like, that's all it was. It was just really awkward.
Yeah. Just
but
an excuse for some horny artist to do something.
Yeah.
That was just weird. I can't use this stuff. Could you imagine like reading? I mean, if I paid for a reading and if they busted out those cards, I'd be like, are you joking? Okay. I'm paying you to use this deck. Wow. I just feel really weird.
Yeah. That's probably more of a collector item anyway.
Yeah. I'm just like, I have no problems with nudity. I'm a very, you know, and I was a model too, so I'm used to like whipping my clothes off in front of a bunch of people and, you know, backstage. And there's like press and everyone, you know, but it's just a human body. But the, like, we sexualize it too much for sure. So, like, you know, some of the artists that have hit me up already, I haven't looked at much of it, but I already saw a few accounts are just heavy on the anime with the giant boobs and that, and I'm like, if that's all you can do, like, that is a huge turnoff for me. You know, there's nothing artistic about that to me. That's like a fetish art to me.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if they have skill and can do other things, then cool. But
yeah, you could request smaller boobs.
Well, I mean, it's not even about that. It's just like a tiny waist, big boobs, the like weird kawaii looking, like that's all they do.
Yeah.
Like that's all is on their page. So, do you hear that? I'm gonna go see what our son's having a cow.
All right.
He's usually just screaming at his show.
Yeah, he gets excited about his shows.
Yeah. There was one part I told Andy I was like, that's kind of scary for a kid, but he was like, yeah. I'm like, oh, he's gonna be a psycho for
it's
sure.
Like that meme. It's like that meme with the baby that's like, yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite at the hockey game.
Yeah, at the hockey game.
Yeah, that's one of the best gifts ever.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back.
We'll hold down the fort for you.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah. Yeah, I've been just kind of working on what I'm going to be doing for my free series. I think I was talking to you guys about that a little bit behind the scenes here. Just planning on doing a free ongoing story on Substack. Just to kind of have something that people can check out now.
You were saying it's kind of like Pokemon inspired?
Yeah, a little bit. But like, yeah, so animals, friendship, you know, a little bit more exaggerated cartoony villains, but like I won't be able to help myself with adding like some actual grittiness to it a little bit. You know, I'm not going to be super like bloody or anything, or like even like kill happy, but like it's not going to be like Pokemon where things don't die, and nobody ever has to like eat a Pokemon.
Yeah. There'll be actual stakes.
Yeah, it'll be like the world. You know, people eat meat.
There'll be actual stakes and actual guns. Pokemon was.
Yeah, in my upcoming Sherlock Hamster series, I wrote it as detective noir for kids. Yeah. So there's like car chases in the second book, and there's
Sherlock Hamster.
There's people being shot at, things like that, but in a very kid-friendly way, if that makes sense.
They're all stormtroopers.
I get it. It's like
in the first book, Sherlock gets framed for a crime he didn't commit, and he escapes from the police, and of course they're shooting at him because he jumped out of their police car.
Yeah, but they never hit him, right?
Yeah, no, they never hit him. He does get punched in the face a couple times.
Yeah, that's all right.
I get it.
Especially
I've
'cause he's a
watched
smart
enough.
aleck.
Yeah, I watched enough like old cartoons where they shoot and pretty much nobody hits anything. Yeah, it's in my small children's book. It's the story of a kid with his pet sugar glider, who is called
Aw.
Papaya, and he has a scooter and he rides around Mars, which is Mars from my universe.
Starshatter World.
Yeah, and it's terraformed. So his parents gave him a job to do, and he has to um, meet one of his uncles, who is a biker, but a very wholesome biker. So he has to do stuff for his uncle. He's not like some superhero like in some of the children's books I've seen out there. He's just a kid, but he's a good kid, and
Nice.
he has like some really basic skills,
Oh, buddy.
and the huge plus is that his pet sugar glider is really cute, really cute.
Nice.
And if you've seen sugar gliders, you know that they are super cute.
Hmm.
Look,
Yeah.
come here.
I'm also working on another kids book. That one's gonna be strange. I was telling you guys about it before the show, but there's like
With the
floating
flying forest.
forests,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's like there's a place called like I think I called it like the Rolling Hills, but they actually just roll and move around and like to trick people. So,
Nice.
like
Yeah,
when people aren't
sneaky
looking,
heels.
they'll move to try and get people lost. And so the hero, he loses his memories and he has to find his way home. And his companion is an old a grandma mountain lion, basically. That world's kind of mountain lion. And she can speak to him telepathically. So, you know, he's tagging along with her, trying to find out who he is and where his home is. And facing things like raboons, which are giant rabbit baboons, things like that.
That's awesome.
Fucker.
Yeah, the animals in your world are pretty compelling. I was like instantly asking questions about that. Before we continue with that though, because I want you to talk about the buffalo sharks. We're gonna real quick get back to the chat. My dog has got my earpiece here. John says, "Wait till you guys get your hands on the Black Crown. It's something special. I have no doubt."
Really?
He says
Get fucked, Rolo. Stop it. You too.
his neighbor and D&D player is doing it for him. Well, that's awesome, buddy. You can get help where you can get it. Stormcrow says, "Hello."
Hey,
Hail,
Stormcrow. Glad you can make it.
Growl again,
Badass
Rolo.
Turner, BA Turner says, "Hail, guys."
Stop.
He's one of the swollest dudes in the Iron Age.
For real.
Him and what is it, Matthew Bond? Those dudes are like swole.
Bro.
Yeah.
No.
I
Stop.
always say BA Turner can bench us. He can bench everybody.
Do you need
He also says
to
this.
your ass?
I assume it's for Black Knight.
Is that Privet?
I can't pronounce it.
It's
Which means hello in Russian.
yeah, it's also hello in most Slavic languages because the alphabet is pretty much the same.
How do you pronounce it in Bulgarian?
Privet.
Oh, Privet.
Without accent on the E.
So Russian is like Privet, and then
yeah.
and Bulgarian is Privet.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
What does it mean?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah.
It means hello, greetings. It's pretty
What
much it.
up?
Greetings to you too, B.A. Turner.
Yeah.
And then
One of the interesting things about China is one of the ways they say hello. Like if you see an old friend, one of the ways you say hello is just, "Hey, have you eaten?"
that's a great welcome.
Yeah. So you
That's
just go,
nice.
you see somebody you haven't seen in a while, and you're like, "Hey, have you eaten? Have you eaten? Ni吃了吗?"
I love that.
I'm guessing that has roots in like
Okay.
ancient times when people were surviving pretty much. So
Yeah, I think like China's kind of like a lot of like one of those food-based cultures. So it's just like a sign of friendship. Like I know, like I studied ancient biblical history and customs. So
Yeah.
like not for China, but like in ancient Israel, eating a meal with somebody is basically saying we're at peace. We're at peace with each other. And
Awesome.
so that's why
Makes
you
sense.
never see enemies eating meals with each other.
or
So
drinking
I'm
together.
guessing
Yeah,
that
breaking bread.
might have come to China.
Yeah, breaking bread with your enemy or whatever.
Yeah. That's why like a lot of Westerners they have trouble doing peace accords in the Middle East because they still have that way. Like breaking bread is literally like it's not figurative there. It's literal there.
Right.
Come here, Mom.
Real
Sorry,
real
getting a
quick.
selfie.
Storm Crow has a question. Can it be possible to write a child's horror story? The
Oh, yeah.
closest thing
Yeah.
I think of is Stephen King's It.
Yeah, I think you
That
can.
is
You
not
just
for children.
like R.L. Stein is pretty famous for that.
Anthony, by the way, have you watched like the older Johnny Quest
Oh yeah,
cartoons?
Johnny Quest.
They're pretty close.
There's some
There's
stuff.
some scary shit there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it was always humans, but Scooby Doo is also kind of like horror.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
That true. Very true.
Yeah, there's some good examples out there, and they all happen to be like older.
Yeah.
When I can't think of a modern example of kids horror, because R.L. Stein was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So
I think one of my first horror films I watched was the first Alien movie.
a what? A first what?
The first Alien.
Oh
Alien.
yeah. That's horrifying though.
Which my dad was like, "Are you sure you want to watch it?" And I'm, yes. How scary could it be? Come on, Dad. And my dad was like, okay.
Did you have nightmares afterward?
Um,
All right. Yeah.
Strangely, no, but I got overexcited and I couldn't sleep for 2 days.
Aww.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that.
Oh, there you go. Sorry.
I don't think Eva was supposed to be for children.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Well, maybe like young adults.
Yeah.
But if it was supposed to, they just kind of got carried away.
Yeah.
And yeah, they would get petrified if I watched that, I'm sure. It's like what, dystopian cyberpunk future? Right?
Kind of. It's post-apocalyptic, but in a very unique way.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the best, but I still think they have the coolest mech designs I've seen in of pretty much anything.
They have. I think I saw one of the older anime. They don't have living mechs, but they have like quite well drawn and designed mechy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When they also have bikers, which which was a plus for me. I can't. I can't remember the name, but they're like a lot of synth artists are using it, so like for dark synth and everything. They're using clips from this one. And it also, I think, also has Tech Magic and other stuff.
Is it Escaflowne?
No, it's not Escaflowne. No.
Wow.
It got like really really longish name. One of these animes with like huge names, which I can't. I just can't remember it.
Oh yeah. Readout says Evangelion is its creator exercising his angst and burning a budget to do so, much like all of Trad Publishing right now. Social media. They're
Yeah.
just taking out that angst and burning as much money as they need to do it.
Burn
Hail.
those ESG money. Yeah.
A.S. Brunner, hail. Welcome. And he
Yo.
says, we got 2 Easterners on tonight.
Yeah.
I am happy to host. 2 great people, honestly.
Thank you.
Location is, we're all in the same room tonight. So there you go.
Yeah.
By the way, I sent you the cover. If you like to show your wife the style of Netrumbo.
Stormcrow says, is there a Chinese Neon Genesis Evangelion? China is messed in the head, he says, and there should be a Chinese Hideki Anno.
They've been producing quite a lot of anime lately, by the way.
I can't think of one. I know there's like a Chinese Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
There's this one, the English name for it is called Big Fish and Begonia. It's a Chinese anime, but it's really good. It's up there with a lot of the Studio Ghibli stuff I've seen.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that. It's about like magical dolphins, that like a dolphin that turns into a human, and like it's kind of like Spirited Away under the sea.
Totally not Ponyo.
No, it's more Spirited Away.
Yeah. God, that's such a good movie. Such a good story.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, that's everybody's favorite, but it's my least favorite of his.
Oh, Princess Mononoke all day.
Oh yeah, dude. Princess Mononoke and Castle in the Sky.
Also a good one. Also Howl's Moving Castle.
I'm going
It's
to
a very good one.
interrupt for a second.
You're going to what?
I'm going to interrupt for a second.
Okay.
It's a full moon, so that explains it, but I have to step away and do a tarot reading for someone quick.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll be right back.
You go do your grind.
Full moons are always...
It'll make some money.
cool.
Oh, yeah. It's the
one or
boys
two
now.
will just pop up randomly.
Featuring Rolo. My dog is right next to me. He's just cuddling with Dad. You want to say hi, buddy?
Rolo.
He's just chilling. Oh, but yeah. Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Have you seen his first movie? Do you know Lupin the Third? That series?
No. I still got to make my way through a lot of stuff for
yeah,
real.
Lupin the Third's like a long running. It's kind of like a comedic 007 series, but Hayao Miyazaki, his first movie was a Lupin the Third movie called The Castle Cagliostro. It's really fun.
Oh hell yeah! And it's like comedic 007.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what's up. Really quick, read out. Princess Mononoke is his favorite film, period. A.S. Brunner, Princess Mononoke, and Howl's Moving Castle. And
I like that other one.
There's
Porco Rosso.
Yeah.
Porco Rosso, yeah.
It's
There's
like so funny and also really picturesque and
whimsical.
I'm not sure about other authors, but I do love to pay homage to some things in my books. I'm not overdoing it, but from time to time I'm doing it. So one of my characters, as you know, is an uplifted hamster who is also a fighter ace, and he builds a special missile, very, very special missile. I'm not going to go into spoilers, but he names the missile Porco Rosso.
Cool.
Yeah, and the missile is, of course, red, and it looks a bit like, just a little bit like because it has wings and engines and stuff. It has like some resemblance to an airplane. So
who was it? Stormcrow he's already decided that that Sherlock Hamster from my upcoming book is your hamster Roro's great grandfather.
They don't live long days like uplifted hamsters. They have like, I think, well, it depends on what they do, but maybe 50 years, maybe 40 something. It's the sake. The sake gets to them. They drink it too much.
You were saying you pay homage to certain things with your stories. I do the same thing. I think a lot of great writers do, honestly. It's just fun and it's satisfying, honestly, and you can develop that to a point where you can actually foreshadow with it if you're able to play on people's real world knowledge a little bit, and you get some authentic world building that way. I have a whole bunch of thoughts on that, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind as another the world building on that, like the giant insects combined with like the I don't know, it's like almost World War II, World War One technology, almost maybe a little steampunky. It's been a while since I watched it, but
I kind of like that theme, that world building theme, like Nausicaa. You find a Nausicaa. I think what's the other one? It was a famous book series, and it's magic. Like, what's his name? Terry Brooks, I think. Shannara and a couple of those.
Yeah.
Like where it's the world is actually Earth in the future, just like thousands of years in the future, and it's kind of become a magical wasteland.
Yep.
Oh, cool. So kind of like what's that?
Almost like Fallout, but with magic.
Thundar the Barbarian and Fallout with magic.
Yeah. Thundar the Barbarian.
Yeah, there's a lot of settings like that, but I kind of like that. I think it's a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
I did a play on that with one of the planets in my series, which is they like it almost looks like everything is wiped out, but there are some ruins and stuff and some survivors, and most of them who live outside, they have forgotten even the name of their world. So, and of course I use that setting to introduce one of my newest characters, who is another homage, this time to Babylon 5 and the technomages of Babylon 5. But
nice.
I didn't expect people to like that character that much. So I was kind of compelled to continue along this path. So,
How'd you find that picture of me, Andy?
I know, right? This is also me when I haven't had my
Volkswagen, German engineering.
Yeah, at its finest. That's how long it's gonna last. Yeah, it's so far in the this is how long they're gonna last. It's gonna stick around until sorcery has taken over the earth and the moon is cracked in two.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and Thundar has a magical sword, of course. So lightsabers are a thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I love Thundar. I have actually never watched it. I
haven't either.
I heard the concept is quite similar to some of the themes in my story. I got wind of that and I looked into it a little bit. And as you saw from that picture, I mean, that's a little bit more modern than what I'm doing. I'm thinking much more cyclical and ruinous, where it might not even be as recognizable. Like that Volkswagen would just be like a skeleton buried in the earth, half corroded away, unrecognizable. You know, people would find it and just probably make something out of it, or
So, are you thinking you would do that? Is your world of Archaea, is that just Earth as well, or you would just have some old tech from that world be just ancient artifacts?
Yeah, that's the magic.
Nice. Yeah, Wheel of Time did that, I believe.
Really? They just had... Wait, they have actual magic, though. Right.
Yeah. Wheel of Time has actual magic, but it's literally just thousands of 1,000-year cycles, 3,000-year cycle, things like that.
That's cool. That's really cool, actually. I didn't even know that. I've never read or watched Wheel of Time. I really wanted to watch it, but I heard it's just too different.
Better.
It's bad progressive fan fiction. The show.
So it's not even the basic story.
It's 40% the basic story.
Yeah, you're right. They did. I have a friend. She is really into the Wheel of Time. She knows everything pretty much. So before the series came out, I asked her, and she's like, "No, how dare you? This is heresy. You shouldn't watch it. It will be terrible. They're going to butcher my favorite characters and this and that." And I'm like, "But okay, but how bad could it be?"
Right.
That's
Let me
something
tell you.
You shouldn't ask a modern writing, because whatever you think, modern mainstream writing, it could probably be worse.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted, right? They'll just take that as a challenge.
It's not like hold my beer. It's like hold my truck with the beer.
Yeah.
Dude, hold my Baiju refinery.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Baiju refinery. Hey, I wrote about Baiju. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've never been drunk, but the closest I got to it was drinking some homemade Baiju, and my face went numb.
Chinese rakia. Pretty much.
Stormcrow asks, to Knight and Harris, is there a Fallout adjacent story in your respective countries, like Metro for Russia?
I haven't played Fallout, so I don't know.
Essentially, post-apocalyptic. The theme is 50s, retro 50s, because that's when the world ended.
50s, almost early 60s. It's a mashup.
Yeah, Greaser, Biker, Atomic Panic. The world.
Nuclear powered Cadillacs.
Yeah. And everything has a little nuclear.
Robots and shit.
Yeah, they leaned into atomic power instead of oil, because the concept is oil ran out, and it led to World War III, and
I
the
do
rest-
have in the novel I just published, Red Skies. It's set on floating airship, like a floating airship country, so it's a floating Zeppelin nation. And so in that, like my Zeppelin nations, they're powered by thorium reactors.
Yeah,
So it's steampunk with nuclear thorium reactors.
that's cool. And nuclear punk, dude.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Nuclear punk.
Nice.
What's
in
that?
my own work,
Shop, right?
I think I have like a number of planets, because this is it's you can pretty much make everything. You have, just like in Star Trek, you have certain planets that are feudal, primitive, etc., etc. So in one of the places, they have ancient, like they call them tombs. The locals call them tombs, but they're just bunkers.
Yeah, they're never tombs.
talking about Fallout, and in most of these there are AI cyborgs, mechs, with implanted pilots inside of them, and they are like the locals. They are probably on the level of civilization which was in Conan the Barbarian, maybe. And they have quote-unquote magic, which is telepaths with different abilities, and they call them magicians and sorcerers, but whatever. And they have armies who are guarding these tombs, because their civilization fell apart once after they established it, because some idiot entered one of these tombs and a mech came out, and that mech pretty much wiped out 90% of the population of the entire planet. And it just came back, like it returned back to its quote unquote tomb, and deactivated. that was it. So
it's always a tomb.
Ooh, yeah.
That's just a
It's
tomb.
a tomb. That's a
crazy?
tomb. Yeah.
I'll be back in just a minute. Nature is calling.
Oh, have fun. But yeah, Black Knight. It's like, don't you see the perfectly smooth and unmarked insides and the mechanical layout of the architecture? It's clearly a tomb.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you see how there's not a single mark on the wall?
Yeah, it's a tomb. It's a tomb. Yeah. In let's say on Averna, which is one of the planets that I mentioned, they, in ancient times, before they were almost destroyed, they were not tombs. They were like memorials.
Mm-hmm.
And in later years, they entombed certain important people there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a memorial. It's like you're going to, let's say, Arlington Cemetery, and you're not entering the cemetery proper. Right. You're going to the one of the buildings with all the plaques and the pictures, etc., and you have guides that are telling you the story of the people, etc. So, but of course, thousands of years later, and come grave robbers who are like, ooh, it's a tomb. It's a tomb. We're going to steal the loot.
Yeah. You get $sign eyes. Cha-ching. We'll just steal it all.
And this is probably one of my most favorite beginnings of a story, which is that mysterious robed figure who's guiding three thieves inside this quote unquote one of these tombs, and he's not even walking; he's floating, and they hired him to get past traps, etc., etc. And he's guiding them deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And it's I'm not gonna spoil it. It's because I know that one day you will read it.
Yeah.
It's probably this story started like the entire jump started the entire sword and railgun thing for me.
Yeah.
I was planning on doing some something which was more akin to the old Sword and Planet, but since it's set in my universe and things are a bit different there, but also quite similar to the old pop stuff, I decided to put my twist on it. But it worked well.
Well, that's sometimes you gotta do that. Like that reminds me of what you were saying about homages, right?
Yeah.
That little twist can go a long way. Like you can. There's so many examples out there too. Like, you can take one simple idea and like really make it go a long way. Like the idea of Odin symbolism, right? You can take the figure of Odin, and people who know what all the, like some of the lore involved with him, the type of character he is. Like you could take Zeus too, but Odin is just really easy because all you have to do is have any character lose an eye, or like have a raven land on their shoulder, or whatever. Maybe they have two wolves, stuff like that, two ravens, stuff like that. Maybe they named two guitars, Thought and Memory, because that's the name of his ravens. So you can draw similarities to that, with the homages, and when you add your own little twist on it, you can have a lot of fun with it. It leads to a lot of like organic originality, ironically.
One way I've found, like, I've started stories is often I'll just ask a question. I'll be like, oh, what about this? And then I'll be like, oh, that's a good idea for a story.
Yeah.
Like my Sleeper Agent books, basically I was like, Sleeper Agent, that sounds like a cool name for a book. What if the person was a spy when he's sleeping?
Yeah. He's a sleeper agent.
Yeah. So I was like, what if I just take that idea literally? Yeah. And yeah, I've had a couple books like that where I came up with the name first and then the story after, just by coming up with like a name for a story. I was like, ooh, that sounds cool. That sounds like it'd be a good idea. Like my whole book, one of my newest releases, The Name of Magic, I like kind of had this story idea and the name at about the same time. But I was like, what if all the magic in the world just came from one person?
Ooh.
And
like kind of like a lead vampire sort of situation, but like with magic instead.
Yeah, so like in The Name of Magic, basically the idea is there was a whole bunch of different kinds of magic like 2,000 years ago. Then all of a sudden it all disappeared. And then like there's only one kind of magic left in the world. And, it's been there for 2,000 years. And there's like the legends of the heavenly mages. They're worshipped almost as gods in that country. And then basically this girl stumbles onto it and she starts hearing the voice of the last of the heavenly mages, and he's the one all the magic in her world is going through. So they're basically just using his power to do magic.
I love listening to concepts of stories. This is such a fun stream for me, just having you guys on, honestly. Just go on and on. So
yeah, we can pretty much, but yeah, I'd rather if you like, we could answer questions, or you could just ask us stuff.
oh yeah.
Whatever is
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, so yeah, if chat, if you guys have any questions, go ahead, send them our way. We'll gladly answer it about our worlds. Harris, you were talking about how your story started. Like, you just asked a question. Like, that reminds me of my full length. I just kind of like, I was like, what if a pregnant lady was the protagonist of a story inside of a dangerous fantasy world, right? She has everything to lose, you know, and you can have emerging magic and stuff like that, and I kind of just ran away with that, you know.
Yeah, I totally get that. Like, my book Terminal, I was just like, what if superpowers killed you?
Like, is it a disease, or?
That's legitimate. That's a legitimate question.
Yeah. Like, in my story, in Terminal, basically, it's a terminal disease. Superpowers are a terminal disease. Like, it isn't explained in the book, because, like, one of the unanswered mysteries of the book is, like, why they kill people. But basically, my thought is the bodies just can't handle it, so it just eats away at your body to power it.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's great.
That's something which, if Hollywood had like one little creative bone left, they would they would do something similar, which would be actually original, doing something original.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie Limitless?
Is that the what's his name? The dude who plays,
he's on The Hangover,
American Sniper and Rocket the Raccoon, Bradley Cooper.
Yes, it is him. Yeah, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, so good. Have you seen it, Black Knight? I don't know.
No, I don't remember watching it.
It's a good watch, like, even like off topic of what we're talking about right now. Just like, it's a well-made movie. You know, the concept is really cool too. It's like, you know, they invent this drug that unlocks the full potential of your brain, but you die. So you become like a super genius after you take this, you know, pill or whatever, like totally crazy mental ability. But yeah, you like slowly die. Yeah, I won't spoil the end, but like, it has a great ending, kind of tied around all that.
I gotta watch it. But while we are on the same topic, I asked myself the question: what if you had like this super advanced and fast healing, but it could kill you? And so in Starshatter, they have this quote unquote magical healing, but it's dangerous. It's really dangerous. You can, like, your organism might not survive it. You'll inject yourself with and I mean, you might have wounds which the solution will heal them, but in the process your heart will fail, or like some of your organs will fail, and you'll die. You'll die on the battlefield somewhere else.
I think it's interesting how much good writing can come just from asking questions. See something and be like, oh, what about this?
Yeah, what if? It's very scientific. Yeah, what you were saying, Black Knight, it kind of reminds me of real world like opiates and painkillers. Like it is actually a miracle medicine where it can literally kill your pain, but it can also kill you. You know, so that's what that kind of reminds me of. It's a good idea because of that, I think.
I actually asked a lot of questions. I asked because I have friends who worked in laboratories, and two of them are doctors, and one of them is dealing with deceased, and he said that there were a lot of people who died on the operating table or like from different medicine.
Yeah,
he says that this is like a lot. Like it's not people who are shot or died from car accidents or something like that. No, it's actually this.
while they're being worked on.
Yeah.
That's interesting and realistic. Yeah, I love it. It's a good idea. Yeah, as far as the magic in my world goes, it's very scientific. Like it's all tied to objects, and if you can think of a clever way to charge these objects, then you can potentially use whatever it's for. But like most of them are tools. I really like to draw that line between tool and weapon. Because at the end of the day, like a weapon is just a tool of violence. So that's the real secret there.
Yep.
It's Stormcrow. He says, superpower I would have before I died, immune to pain, would allow me to kill a lot of commies before I croak.
I wasn't listening until just now, but oh my god, that would be the ultimate. If I could not feel pain.
Yeah, not feeling pain would be great.
Oh, I'd be living it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that's a blessing and a curse, because there are people who literally have certain disease that lets them not feel pain, but they'll get like some of them will die and stuff just because they'll get injured. They may break a bone or something like that. Get like burned very badly. There's a ton of things like that. Like there's records of them, they put their hand down on the stove and they aren't paying attention, and then their skin is melting because they didn't feel the pain of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of those ones that I think it would be a cool superpower if you could turn it on and off at will.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. But that's got to be the weakness, maybe.
Yeah.
Just sneak up on this person.
Yeah, that's another part of good writing is like, what are the downsides of these things? Yeah. And I think that's like one thing that a lot of the modern writing you see they lack. They only think of one side of it, and that's why it's so boring. It's either overpowered or only bad, and there's no balance between like, here's the cool thing you can do with it, but here's what it costs.
Yeah.
You got a lot of that in the new Star Wars.
The consequences and the cost, yeah.
And I have a little tool for this, but go on, Black Knight.
Yeah, I was just about to like say that you're super powered, like he said, but the cost is that it's eating you alive and you die. In the case of the magicians, quote unquote magicians in Starshatter, for example, they can do wondrous stuff. They can set things on fire. They can draw static electricity from from their surroundings and focus it into a lightning bolt. But it actually hurts them. It depends, but most of them, they get internal hemorrhages.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like it's overtasking their body.
Seizures.
Yeah, seizures.
Aneurysm.
Yeah, and strokes also.
Yep.
They can get a stroke and die. So
I could
yeah,
see
it's
a valve failure in your heart, stuff like that.
yeah. And so the main character, he can fold space, can do that, but every time he does it, he gets like a brain hemorrhage, like a minor brain hemorrhage. And
Wow.
if his wife is not around, that's yeah. I'm so powerful, guys. I'm so super powerful, but I'm actually dying. So
Yeah. I hurt myself every time I do anything.
yeah.
For me, it's like these are tools, but they're, the downside would be figuring them out. You know what I mean? These magical objects. And it's not the easiest thing to charge them, but then again, it is. Like, you could stand in a storm and like the static electricity from the storm would like keep it powered because it's so advanced or whatever. But as far as like trying to harness like vibrational waves within the earth and trying to transfer that into the object, for example, that might be a little bit more difficult. There's a lot of things, but I've been trying to keep as open a mind as possible to what actually is able to power these things, and how soft and hard the magic is, because if I can rationalize it in my head, I'll do it. Like I have a couple characters in my debut novel that, they have these objects and the forest is on fire, and this, they can just kind of like, they're so attuned with this object at this point, because that's a degree of it too. That would be the soft side of it, is like the bond that this person has formed with it. A little bit of like Lord of the Rings inspiration maybe there, though it's not like corruptive as like Lord of the Rings is. It'd be more like in a traditional realistic real world sense, where like power corrupts you, what I mean? Yeah. I'll ask my train of thought here. My wife is a little distracted.
I ain't doing nothing. Here for some.
But that bond with the object, like that might be able to like, I have these people just reach out and like absorb the fire, essentially. Like the fire slowly dies down and then the object glows brighter, stuff like that. There's some soft magic in there, but I have a rationalization to that,
So they are acting like conduits.
Yeah.
Basically transforming the energy and storing it.
That's the main thing. And then whatever you can do with that.
Blends of soft and hard magic.
Yeah.
That's what I did with the name of magic. Yeah. Like the heavenly mages, they're soft magic, but the main character, she goes to a magic school, and basically the magic they use is kind of similar to have you guys watched Full Metal Alchemist?
Yeah.
The magic they use in the book is similar to that. Basically, they can transmute substances into other things, but you need to know the actual chemistry of it to make it work.
Oh yeah, I love that. A lot of equipment exchange.
Yeah, so like in my book, the spells are just basically reciting the what's it called? The chemical substances it's made out of.
The formula.
Yeah, the formula.
no.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Why did I forget that? I'm just glad I haven't forgot the word for foreign exchange student. Every stream I've had where like they're like, "How did you come to China?" I always forget the English word for it.
That's got to be crazy, just like transitioning over to like completely different country like that, man.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I know a couple of foreigners who live here, from different countries. I can only imagine what, like, because it's China, it's huge. It's like the scale is different. So
yeah, where I live is considered like I live in one of the most backwards provinces in China. I live in what some would like be kind of like the
boonies
of China. There's
The
more
boonies.
yaks than people here. But the city I live in is still 2 million people.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's great.
And yeah, you do see a good deal of yaks if you go outside the city. I remember one time when I first moved here, they have these little, they call them sanfancha. It's a three-wheeled, like it's like a three-wheeled motorbike truck. And one time I was
A trike.
I
Yeah,
was walking and I looked and on the road there was this sanfancha and it was stacked like 3 or 4 feet high just with decapitated yak heads.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was like, that's something you won't see in America.
Yeah. Actually, I saw. Okay, the other day, the wild shit you see on Twitter. I swear to God. I watched this dude. He must have been like from some like foreign country, like the Amazon or something. I'm not sure which, where he was, but he like prepared a wok with like oil and herbs, water. He's putting all this stuff in there, like he's preparing it, and then he pulls out this severed cow head and he just like puts it in there. He's like basting it, and it's just like it looked delicious by the end of it, if I'm being honest. But like it was kind of horrifying because like
in the
it was
beginning,
just it was just a head.
And yeah, like you can get sheep head stew and things like that here. You just kind of get used to it after a while. You're just like, oh yeah, there's just like a cooked shepherd.
It's delicious. It's delicious.
Yeah. He like the lips were like curling back, and like the skull was coming out, and then when he was all done with it, he just pulled it out and just started taking bites out of it. And the dude was like trying to be ridiculous for TikTok, I think, but it was just. It looked delicious but disgusting at the same time.
Was it kind of like a stocky looking dude, and was he like in like kind of a mountain area?
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude's from here.
Oh, okay.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. That's awesome.
He's from my province.
That's awesome.
So
yeah,
I think he lives in the city I live in. So I know exactly who you're talking about.
If you ever see him, be like, my buddy saw your video in America. It was crazy. Yeah. It was horrifying but delicious looking at the same time.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I'm like, oh, some dude, like my friend in America saw a video of a dude cooking a yak's head over here in my city. Yeah. There's actually another video that was making the rounds on the internet of a place in my city. It was a hot pot restaurant, and they serve everything on roller skates. So they would just zip around the restaurant on roller skates really quickly with platters full of food.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sadly, that place burned down like 2 years ago almost now.
2 years?
Yeah. Like it was a pretty decent place. I ate at it. Like I still see videos of it making its rounds around the internet. But yeah, it burned down, and that was a really weird day because like I went camping with friends and this was still during COVID. And as we were camping, like that building burned down, and we could see it from the mountain we were on. And then like that night, the whole city locked down, so we kind of like had to almost sneak back into the city. And some friends were locked out in their districts of the city. So that was an interesting time.
Those districts I heard were pretty wild. Like I only saw headlines after it was processed through the websites and stuff on my end, but yeah, that looked pretty wild over there.
Yeah, it sucked. It was stupid, but I'm glad the white paper rebellion happened.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
That was I watched a couple of videos, and I talked to some friends, and they explained some parts of it, because being like a person who grew up under a similar regime might know how it operates, how things operate. So yeah, they kind of, because they were arresting them and they were disappearing them, they kind of said that, well, okay, we'll just walk around with blank sheets of white paper.
Basically saying like, hey, we can't say anything, so everybody's
That's it. our silence is our outcry. Screw you.
Yeah.
Are they going to outlaw paper?
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
They outlawed that kind of paper for a while.
Communism, bro.
As they do.
Yeah, like it wasn't everywhere, but they outlawed it for a while, and yeah, that was definitely an interesting time. I just hope that things like that happen more and more.
Yeah, I like that rebellion though. That's a sassy idea.
Yeah. Things are hopefully will change for the better, because it's too many people get like abused.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, like Apple, they turned off the AirDrop function during that time, because like the government, because they do a lot of all their manufacturing in China, and the government that was like how people were getting messages to say, hey, let's meet here to.
Yeah, they were fermenting rebellion. How dare you?
Yeah, I heard about that when Apple did that. Like, word gets out. It doesn't get enough attention though.
Yeah, most of it started at the Apple factory as well. So.
Yeah, those corporations have total control over entire countries in some cases. Like, I know there's a couple small African countries that the government handed out little cheap smartphones to everybody, and the only thing on them was Facebook. And like through that, they were able to like kind of control the population, like of this whole country, So
good old soft power.
Yeah, it's sketchy, and that's all within a business, not a government. So
yeah,
it's weird.
Well, the interesting thing is, like, if you look into a lot of the people, you just go into their LinkedIn profile. A lot of them are like CIA agents. Like, they have it on their LinkedIn profile. They're like, oh yeah, I worked with this CIA, I worked with DOJ, NSA, and you're just like, wait, these are all just like one. It's just one blob.
Yeah, it's all one entity. It's all one agency, kind of just divided up into a bunch of three-letter names.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's crazy how open they are about things these days.
Yeah, I think like I've heard, I'm like, I would have to double check, but I've heard a lot of them, like, because a lot of them are cultic in their like actual genuinely cultic in their and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them say like they have the belief that if you tell people in a roundabout way what you're doing, that it's okay. So that's why you see a lot of stuff in like Hollywood and things like that that are basically things that happen 5 years later.
Yeah.
And you see them being open about it in roundabout ways. So they're
Yeah.
like, they basically are like, no, you should have known this. We told you, so it's okay if we do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Which it makes the alien stuff recently pretty sketchy. Because
Yeah.
like, what's gonna happen where they're just gonna be like, well, we told you this was gonna happen.
It doesn't say where that
You know
is,
what I mean?
Yeah, I
and not
have
only told us, they showed us in
Yeah.
some cases.
Yeah. Yeah.
speaking
so,
of aliens though, you were talking about cryptids on last stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see you got Yeti King in your name here. I saw your I saw that on your
No, we were gonna
Amazon link.
we were gonna ask you about the Chinese
Oh yeah.
the Chinese cryptid. It's called a Yeren.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Yeren?
Yeah, there's Yeren and Yuanren, and in outside of China they're used interchangeably. Inside of China, it's Yeren is more like just a feral person in China. But in like
Right
in
when
the
you said
West,
that, our kid was like, yeah.
He's a feral.
yeah. So like a Yeren would just be like a feral person, like just living in the wilds. And the Yuanren is like Chinese Bigfoot. The interesting thing about the Yuanren is there's like actual documentation of high level government officials interacting with one.
Yeah, I believe the video we were watching, the guy like was going over all the different variations of Bigfoot and like breaking down like when they were like the more credible spottings of it and stuff. Like when he was talking about like the Yeren and the Chinese version of it, that was mentioned that like the government actually documented it or something like that.
Yeah, China has some interesting ones because there's a lake in Xinjiang and like it has tons of sightings, and it's even been on the news a couple times, like videos of the sightings, and it's like 20-30 foot long fish just in the middle of the lake, and you can go on YouTube and see like the official news story with videos. Like you can't see it clearly, but people describe it as like 20 to 30 feet long, like fish creatures there.
Oh yeah. There was one video we saw. It was, I think it was in the Great Lakes region, just like a dam structure or like something like that. But there was just this enormous like creature that brushed up against it over and over again, and it was like having issues with it because it was so big. And the debunked theory would be like it's a giant sturgeon. But it definitely looked like snake-like or sea monster-like a little bit.
Well, there's a possibility it could be an eel, like because eels, both freshwater and sea eels, but especially freshwater eels, if they never stop growing. So if they're like in an environment where there's nothing that can hurt it or eat it or kill it, they just won't stop growing.
It's like the goldfish. If you have them in a bigger tank, they'll get huge.
Yeah. Like I know a dude, he was just hiking in Colorado, and he said he like stumbled onto this little pond and it had like 3-4 foot long eels in it.
Oh wow. And a pond.
They were huge.
Ooh.
Black Knight, have you seen any cryptids?
Or
heard any stories?
Personally, no, but I have heard a ton of stories. Like, one friend saw a mermaid.
Ooh,
Mm.
some of those are
which-
compelling.
Which he was he's a science guy. He's an engineer. His
Nice.
father was working on ships, and he got a job on some ship, and it was like a cruise ship. And one evening he saw this. At first, he assumed that that was like one of the passengers, some woman who got drunk and just fell overboard,
Mm-hmm.
and he threw her like life raft.
It got that far. He threw her a life preserver, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And she kind of she picked it up and she threw it back, and she laughed. She laughed at him, and she jumped into the she dived, and
Yeah.
he saw that it's like the lower part of her was fish.
Oh my god.
Long tail of these fish that have it's not like the traditional images.
Yeah.
And it's also she had like the woman part ended like it doesn't have she didn't have like pronounced breasts.
All right.
It's like the fish part was upper. It's like much more
like up here.
Yeah,
she
somewhat.
had arms still.
Yeah. She had, but she had arms. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, because sea creatures don't really need to nurse anything. I know there's examples of it, like with whales and stuff, but they don't have like pronounced breasts or anything like that. I believe it's just like in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah, the mermaid videos though, dude, you can get some compelling ones. Like there was one that was outed as a hoax, but like still when you watch the footage, it's pretty compelling. Like they did a pretty good job with it. It was like the first one I ever saw, so it's pretty old, but these dudes were diving, like I don't know, just think like the Titan sub, basically. And they're like yeah, so they're like
the
diving
hand on the window.
Yes.
The Titan sub.
And there's multiple videos of different angles capturing it at the same time. Like they if it is actually fake, they did such a good job and like probably spent a lot of money on it or something, because like I don't know how you get like the two different angles and all that. Like that's how they presented it to the world. They showed the videos side by side of the same event happening, and they completely debunked any doubt, basically. But then they went on a TV show and said it was fake. You know, which I mean,
then it most probably is not fake.
Exactly. Somebody got to him. But one of the more recent videos I watched, I think it was, I don't know where it was in the world. I'm inclined to say down by like Florida or something. But these dudes are just like boating, and it's like at night, and they keep seeing stuff in the water. And like, what makes
Gators.
yeah, but they were like in the ocean. And what makes it kind of more authentic is how they kept reacting to it. Like it was straight up like a video you would take, like there was a reason, because like a lot of the fake videos, they're fake because they're like recording for no reason when the video starts. Like, why are you even recording? You know what I mean? But these dudes, you could tell they had already seen something a few times in the water, and then somebody pulled their phone out or something, and just the way they're reacting, they're like, "Oh, holy, did you see that?" And like the erratic nature of it, it's pretty interesting. Like there was like multiple of them swimming alongside the boat, and I think there was like a head that popped out, and it was like a humanoid head. And pretty interesting stuff. I mean, like I like to keep an open mind. I don't like to like fully believe in every like random video you see on the internet or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
Yeah. For me, like, because I love studying cryptids and things like that.
Yeah.
My default mode is skeptic, but I believe there's the possibility of a lot of them. Even as like a Christian, like some of the theology, I'm like, oh, that still fits.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Oh yeah. And then remember that there are a lot of animals that back in the day, people, when they were more like uneducated and they didn't know better, they assumed they were seeing like some of the legendary mystical beings, but it was actually an animal. What was the story about the pandas? I think it was like really interesting, that the story how they discovered them, the panda bears in China.
Yeah.
And they were like, I think I read somewhere that in the beginning they were actually debunking them, and they said like, no, they don't exist, they can't be real. If they were real, we would have found them already. And finally someone actually found them, and then all the people who were spewing these the entire debunkism and shit, they were like, zip, not a word. Like,
well, that's the thing. They never come out after the fact and say, sorry, I was wrong, or even acknowledge it. It's like that doesn't even exist anymore. It's convenient. Really.
Very convenient.
That reminds me of Cyclops skulls. People confusing woolly mammoth skulls.
Yeah.
They would see the skull, you know, where the trunk goes, it's just like one large opening. They'd think it was an eye socket. It looks kind of human-like too, with the jaw and everything. Like, elephant skulls look pretty wild.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of interesting stuff. I think it's kind of interesting how like each continent outside of Antarctica has their own Bigfoot legend.
Yeah, it's fascinating. They all have like hellhounds and dragons and.
Oh yes, the dragons, especially the dragons.
Yeah. I think like I like to think. Do you guys know the bombardier beetle? There's a kind of beetle, and it shoots explosives from its butt, basically.
Its poop is explosive.
Basically it has two chemicals in different chambers, and it can shoot them out, and they meet each other, and they make it a little explosion. So I think I'm like, bombardier beetles are real. I could see there being some sort of reptile that also has that ability, because you know there's actual real animals we have now.
You're correct. Yeah. If it exists, so it could have been bigger. So yeah, pretty much. And you have this. Was that snake? There was a snake that had such powerful venom. It actually it's almost like acid. What was that snake? I forgot it. But if your spit, if you take this, if it spits at you, you'll pretty much fall, you're screwed.
Right. Are you talking about the spitting cobra, or not?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure it was a spitting cobra.
Because there's a spitting cobra that it spits venom, and if it gets in your mouth or in your eyes, It can basically it like coagulates your blood. So
No.
like
This one is much
that.
stronger.
Oh, are you thinking of the Mongolian deathworm?
No.
The Mongolian deathworm.
I've read about it. No, I'm not thinking about the Mongolian deathworm. I mean, if the those crazy Mongolians back in the day, they would have killed it.
Yeah. Rep in Mongolia right now. I'm wearing a little jacket I got in Mongolia.
Beautiful, man. I'd love to see Mongolia.
Yeah, Mongolia is really nice. It's especially if you love eating meat, it's a great place to go.
Oh, I believe it.
The diet is mostly meat, but it's a beautiful place and the people are really nice. Also, it can be a little rough but it's fun. Like I think he was like one of the whole police, like one of the biggest police chiefs in the whole nation, because there's only like 3 million people in the whole country. And I was with a friend in Ulaanbaatar, the capital, and I was walking in this. He looks like he's half human, half bear. This giant dude in the police uniform, and he has like probably not even exaggerating 50 medals on his police jacket.
Oh, wow.
And he just walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, I can beat people up. You give me money, I beat people up for you. You look nice. You want me to beat people up? Do you have enemies?" And he just kept
Mongolian guy?
He was like, just kept on asking me if there was anybody I needed beat up. And he was just like, "Yeah, if you need me to beat anybody for you, I'll just do it, man." It was pretty hilarious.
For you, I'll just do it.
Yeah. And then later, another dude, like I had another. I went to this national park and stayed in a yurt with a family. One of their friends came over, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm a mafia boss," and he was just like taking off his shirt, showing me all his scars, and we played hot potato. He was like, "This is Mongolia game," and he looked like a coal that had fallen from the fire. Not like searing hot, but still really hot. Yeah. And he's like, "You have to see how long you can toss it around before you drop it." So
I love it.
I'm proud to say I beat them.
Oh man, you beat Mongolians?
Yeah. The funny thing though, like another weird thing was like when it cooled down a bit, they were like, "Here, what we do now is like he took off my shoes and he started massaging my foot with a hot coal." That was kind of weird.
That is kind of.
It can be, I've had massages where they put like the hot rocks on you and like they freaking burn, or hot towels or whatever. Like some of that is way too hot, but I mean, it can definitely massage your muscles and relax them. But I think they do it way too hot sometimes, where it's like it's just gonna make you tense up, Yeah,
that was pretty much the idea. I think that's kind of what they do, because it gets cold out there, and
cold, and the wind is insane. The wind is insane because it's pretty much open steppe. And then when you add like rain, you can literally die from exposure just from the rain.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can die in like real quick in Minnesota from exposure in like seriously like 5 minutes. But we get colder than Antarctica, and we have a colder average temperature than Moscow.
Wow.
It gets really cold.
I didn't realize that. I knew Minnesota got cold, but I didn't know it got that cold.
Never invade Minnesota in the winter.
It gets cold as fuck, and it gets really, really hot in the summer too.
Yeah.
We get like the most extreme of all 4 seasons. By the way, babe, did you hear the baby just calling for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go check on him here a little bit.
Like, oh, he's not calling me. I'll just stay here.
Here, I'll check on him because I actually have to run to the little boy's room anyway. You guys keep talking cryptids and all
All right, sounds
Uh,
good.
Oh wait, actually, before I go, Mind Flayer, he's got theories about the mythology thing, dragons, feathered serpents, hellhounds, Bigfoots, all over the world, that kind of thing.
I have some interesting theories about those too.
Oh yeah. Oh, me too. I'm actually gonna appear on Mind Flayer's stream and talk about Missing 411. If you're familiar with that,
ooh.
That sounds fun.
that's those phenomenal stories. But I am gonna go to the bathroom and check on the kid. So
You
you
can
guys
bring
have
him
fun.
here, babe,
Yes.
if you want.
But I mean, yeah, it's when I studied folklore. Well, of course, I started with the Slavic stuff, but we in our university we had many foreign students. We had guys from the Philippines, from Thailand, from like I think we even had a couple of guys from like places in Africa that most other Africans don't even know exist. So we had like, ooh, what is this? Oh, this like you call this like a forest spirit? Like what is this? And I would explain that this is like one of the famous creatures, cryptids, whatever you call them, and they would say, "Oh yeah, we have like a similar thing," and I was like, the first time I was like, "No, that's like they're just joking," but then we would talk more, we would explain stuff, we would talk about like what this or that other creature looks like and what they do, and the similarities sometimes are quite striking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy. I mean, just even like in ancient times, how like just all over the world, every culture has this or that, and it's so similar to each other, even like religion stuff. And it's pretty cool though. And it just adds more credibility to what people are saying, That's why, I mean, it's good to have skepticism, but I definitely believe there's a lot of stuff. And of course, there's a lot, like we watch a lot of cryptid videos and, user submitted ghost videos. And a lot of it's like, I don't buy that at all,
Yeah.
But
those ones especially. There's so many that are obviously just flecks of dust or bugs floating, crawling on the screen.
Or some reflections like from light, etc. So like there was a case here that they thought they were seeing they were seeing something, some like creature in the forest, but in the end it was the windshield of a car, which someone like stole the car and they just like chopped it for the parts, and they just threw the windshield, and the windshield every night was reflecting some lights, and because it was bent and broken, it reflected them a certain way, and they thought they were seeing like moving lights and stuff, but it was a fucking car windshield. So that so this is how your skepticism is useful. But then you get to a certain point where that it's like if you're still being a skeptic, then you're not quite
Honest.
Be honest with yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
We have some videos from our home camera, like inside our apartment, like actual orbs. I mean, because they'd be like blinking, and I mean, I have some in pictures where part of the orb is behind something, like part of it's behind an ottoman, so it couldn't be like the light, like a lens flare or anything like that. Like some's just, and I caught like a crazy, like weird bright flash in my kitchen, like a blinding bright flash in my kitchen, and it wouldn't, like, I have nothing in there that could do that. And then I have a video that I don't post it because in the video I'm walking out into the hallway, and like I've heard of cameras getting hacked and stuff, but I was walking into through our hallway into the living room to the clothes basket to grab a shirt, so I'm not wearing a shirt, so I'm like covering myself just because there's still a camera there. And it was actually right before I got pregnant, and you see an orb go right into my stomach on the camera. And that was about a month, I think, before I got pregnant with Olin. So I always thought that was weird. But it makes you wonder,
Yeah. Like
But
for me, I was walking, like I lived in Nebraska for a while, and I worked at a Bible camp out in the middle of nowhere, and I was walking home one night, and I just saw it looked like a giant ball of molten metal just fall from the sky slowly with no sound.
Was it green?
No, it was orange, like,
wow,
looked like magma almost.
That's awesome. I saw a green one 2 different times in just like, it'd be about 2 hours north of Minneapolis. And it was like the green on those glasses in our thingy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's,
I wonder if that was ball lightning.
It was like going like a comet in the sky and then just exploded both times. And I was with my friend one time and my grandma the other time. It was really weird. We're like, what?
I saw something like that. It was like a comet, but it was like it was really slow. It took like 10-15 minutes to go across the sky, and it was just like a green comet.
It was trying not to crash.
Yeah, like the one I saw, it was just like
slowing down
comet with a green trail, and it took like 10 minutes to go across the sky. It was weird.
Wow. We only saw it for, like a few seconds before it exploded, but it was just wild. So in China where you are, is there a lot of Christianity or?
So where I am, it's like I live in a part of what used to be Tibet, so there's a lot of Tibetans and there's a lot of Muslims as well. It was kind of like they used to fight over the area back in the day. There was like Muslim warlords and Tibetan warlords fighting over the area.
Wow.
So right now I live, the funny thing is, like, for most of the time I've lived in China, I lived in a neighborhood sandwiched right in between the Tibetan Buddhists and the Muslims, but now I moved to a different complex on the west side of the city, and now there's a lot of Catholics right where I am. So
nice.
So, yeah.
I know that I had a friend who he actually started dating a Chinese woman, and he went out to visit her, and she was in a smaller village in China, and her parents hated him. Like, we're really, really super traditional, and there's a lot of people like that, not just Asians, but that like only date your own culture, and like Koreans are like that too, and so it's just like their culture and how they're brought up, and I think it's changing. I think the internet is a blessing in a way because it exposes us to so many other cultures without having to travel, that I think we just sensitized, and there's I mean, so when my mom and dad bought this house in '89, they got a lot of hate mail from locals because of their I don't know if it was like a phone book thing or like how they knew, but they thought my dad was black because of his name being Kurt for some reason. And like they kept sending my mom and dad like hate mail for being an interracial couple and how wrong it was and stuff. And that was only in 89. So like, I mean, people don't do, well, I don't want to say they don't do stuff like that anymore, but I mean, it's not like,
it's less,
you know.
Yeah, so for me that's like so foreign because like I have black family, I have Mexican family, my wife's Chinese, so I'm like, like, you know, my aunt and uncle, like they got married back in the 80s and she married a black guy, and you know, like now, like, so I always grew up in a multiracial family, so I was like, it never occurred to me, you know, being racist or things like that. I was like, that's just so stupid, you know?
Yeah, I have my uncle and my cousins are Mexican and their last name is Hernandez. And since we're in such a small town in Minnesota, people were really racist to them, like in school and stuff. And even the cops were super racist. Like, went through their trash and found weed stems, and they ended up going to, my aunt and uncle both have to serve time in jail here.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like, yeah, because Hernandez, like,
yeah,
and
ridiculous.
My uncle's only half Mexican too, so my cousins were quarter, you know, and they're pretty white looking, but with that last name, you know, they're getting called slurs and stuff. And it's
like my brother, he married a Mexican gal, but a lot of people think he's Mexican because like they just moved back to America after 10 years. Well, they've only been married for like 4 or 5 years. Let me see, 2019, so 4 years, but they just moved back. But a lot of people, when he lived in Mexico, a lot of people thought he was Mexican because there's a lot of light-skinned Mexicans.
Oh yeah, there actually are. Yep.
And like I've been mistaken for Chinese by Chinese people.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So
there's also a lot of really dark Mexicans too, like super dark.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know.
Yeah, I grew up in the heart of Minneapolis, and then moved to North Minneapolis, which is even deeper in the heart. So it's like, the whole racism thing is never been a thing. Like my first friend was African American kid, and we both had the same bus stop.
One of my
Pokemon.
First friends when I was little was a black girl named Vanessa. And this is a true story, and like as adults, like we've all thought it was funny, but I could never remember her name, and we were like, you know, like 4 and 5, you know, like really, really little. So we would all play together, and I kept forgetting her name, and I would always accidentally call her Vanilla instead of Vanessa, and it's like it had nothing to do with her, you know. So it's just like, it just shows how like innocent and like oblivious kids are to, you know, race. Like it's another person, you know.
The worst thing is that in these days, like the most modern actual racists are grifters. They're using it to earn money to like grift other people. It's like, yeah, you must hate that other person because this and that. Give me money. It's like,
I literally saw just yesterday something about that.
Yeah,
it's always one of the most prominent anti-racist guys. He's super racist, and like it was just shown he like his appearance fees are $45,000 for one talk.
Wow. Yeah, it says it all.
And for a Zoom meeting, just like an online Zoom meeting, he
The
makes
grift is real, bro. The grift is real.
No, hook me up. I will say anything for that half that
Yeah.
money.
We could catch up on our bills pretty quick.
Yeah.
Just like say what?
Yeah, there's a lot of money in stoking racial tension.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And also votes.
Yep.
I'll virtue signal. I'll do whatever. I'll throw
50
a
grand.
bunch of slurs up. Just give me that money. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No.
Mind Flayer chimes in and he says he can't wait to start up live streams for Anomalous, his podcast, by the way.
Oh yeah.
There's so much to talk about. I think you would all love it. I'd love to be a part of it.
He also asked me that question earlier. Is do I have more horror focused stories?
Yeah, right here.
And that character till death is that's my quote unquote technomage. So it's a different take on that whole thing of using ancient technology to replicate the effects of magic.
Amen.
Or technology per se. But yes, I have a couple more drafts for him, and plus he's also appearing in some of my Velin novellas, which Mr. Mindflayer read 2 of them, so he knows.
Hell yeah.
But the answer is yes.
Yes. More on the way. You have a recurring character, Harris?
Well, in any of the ones that aren't series, no. But like I do, like I have little tie-ins to some things. So like in Terminal, I have one of the characters reading my book Echoes of Memory.
Mm-hmm.
And then like my newest one, Red Skies, it could technically be set in the same world as Echoes of Memory. Mm-hmm. I just throw in a couple similar things, like in Echoes of Memory, the main weapon they use is something called a metal vine, which is I based off the Philippine Eskrima sticks and Eskrima fighting. Mm-hmm. But it's basically when you treat it, it gets harder than metal. And so, like in my Red Skies book, the more expensive buildings are made of metal vine.
Yeah.
So I have a couple little like small tie-ins like that, but I think it's cool how people do shared universes for things, but I also want my standalone stories to be standalone, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't mind throwing like small nods in just to see if anybody's paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm right there. You know, I try to factor in as many nods as I can, but just the rules I've set for myself with the world, it makes it kind of hard sometimes. Just because, like, what I got right now, like the full length is basically a really long backstory for the only character that will be recurring.
That's important.
Yeah.
A lot of the mainstream Hollywood people they forgot the importance of the good backstory. This is how we get the people to be emotionally invested in a character.
Yeah, so my hope is like a few stories from now, you know, when that person shows up people can point at it and be like, wow, you know, like that person came so far. Like I was saying earlier, one of the ideas for my story early on was just like this pregnant protagonist. So this would be the recurring character. And I, you know, just comboed it with a couple other fascinating ideas that I'm not sure if I should even say like some of the ideas, just at risk of spoiling the story, you know, like even
No spoilers. We
Yeah,
agreed,
even if
no
I-
spoilers.
even if I compared it to like another story, I'm like at risk for it, you know. But yeah, this character will be recurring, and you know, if you're familiar with my world at all, you know, it's like I mentioned the whole cyclical thing earlier, and like my current book that's out is 3 different stories at 3 different time periods. You know what I mean? So there's some clues there, but I'll have some fun with this. You know, that's not to say that I won't write like a series. I have a couple series in mind. You know, like I just gotta put the pen to paper. You know?
Yep. Yeah, I gotta finish my Name of Magic series, Heavenly Mages series.
Yeah, there's been talk of Heavenly Mages a little bit this stream.
Yeah, I did a free giveaway of that book recently. It was cool because I think people picked up like 79 copies.
Oh yeah.
So I was pleased by that. I hope it
yeah.
gets some reviews.
That was from the base book sale?
I did the base book sale, and I did my Echoes of Memory and the 2 Sleeper Agent books. But this one, because I came out with Red Skies, I just decided I would do a giveaway of another book for free. So that's pretty much what I did.
Yeah, free book bursts. That's what they're called. I saw some successful authors discussing it. They said that they have the highest return versus effort doing those free book bursts. The one that was making the post that I saw said that she completely replaced Facebook ads altogether, just completely
ads are useless pretty much.
Yeah, but unfortunately early on they're one of the only things that get you a little bump here and there. It really sucks, but like Facebook has like some of the most effective advertising when you compare it to other other apps. But like I know Twitter's trying to catch up, but she said she completely did away with that just through organizing with other authors of similar genres. Like you look at your book and you're like, what genre is this? What's this like? And you find authors with similar things, and you guys organize a free book burst, and you just pick a day.
Facebook ads have worked for me for my tarot page pretty well.
Oh yeah, like $5, right?
Stuff. Oh, I'll drop it down to $1 because I'm poor.
And it actually worked, like $1 that night. Yeah.
But my first $10 was free. I think they give you some for free too.
Okay.
Interesting. I haven't done any actual advertising of my books besides just normal posts on like Twitter and whatnot.
Yeah, on Facebook you just pick you can pick, you know, your audience, and that's helpful.
Yeah. I should probably do that sometime. It's just a pain figuring out in China, so I haven't bothered with it yet.
And in general.
Yeah. It's I mostly did all my advertising on Minds.
On Minds.
Yeah, and it worked because I was able to find my audience, just like you said.
Is that just for writers?
No, it's for everyone. But pretty much in the beginning, it was advertised as an alternative social media for indie creators.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and in the beginning it was basically pretty much you could find anyone. You could find guys who made Axis, let's say Viking Axis. You could find um, artists who did like costumes for
That's where I
post-apocalyptic
found Neutron Bar.
roleplay, etc. It's this. I found like bands. I'm still friends with a couple of bands. Lots of artists.
Sick.
So this is how I built my audience, and it worked out for me. I wasn't and I wasn't like able. I'm still not able to invest money in advertising. That's not in the budget.
Yeah. And that's the issue is like, especially early on, this chick that made the post, she said she made $88 total the first year, the first entire year. And if you're looking at like $100 at most for an entire year, that doesn't leave a lot of leeway even for like $5 or $10 worth of advertising if you want to like reinvest in some stuff, you know. So I totally get it. It's really not in the cards. That's why I was looking, like, that's why that free book burst thing really stood out to me. And Harris, if you're going to give something away for free, I would really consider doing that. Like, find other people that are willing to give one of their stories away for free or have a free story or something.
Yeah, that's
and
a good idea.
Yeah, just organize it. You know, you guys pick a day, you all band together, kind of like the based book sale a little bit. And what you do is you do one day only. And I don't know if it's monthly or year. I think it's a yearly thing, and it works better once you have a backlog like you two have. Because now between you guys, you can choose the perfect story to give away for free out of everything that you have. And you do it for one day only. You set it up way ahead of time. You talk about it. You plan it. You're like, oh, we're live. Oh, we got 1 hour left, 30 minutes left, 10 minutes left. You know what I mean? You make a big deal out of it. And then you shut it down right at the cutoff, because what's going to happen is people will still see all those posts you made and stuff and keep coming in. But then now it's not free, you know? And even the people who came for the free stuff will look at your other backlog. So they said that for some reason, just like talking about it on social media organically and in Discord groups and stuff, and just like hyping up these event days where everybody can come and get a free book. Not only one free book, 20 free books if you get enough authors together. You know what I mean? It's a real appeal there. But I bounced the idea off of a few authors, and you know, there's some good points to be made. You know, like a lot of people are afraid of pirating, so it's like once something is free, it's always free, was what one author was saying. And you know, there's always something to be said about just like shooting yourself in the foot if you don't really have the audience or the backlog to begin with. For example, if I gave my book away for free, which I considered, you know, for one day only, whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's the potential, you could potentially undermine 100% or like 80, 90% of like your profits if that's the only book you have, like I have, you know.
Yeah.
And it might turn into everybody has it for free, you know.
Yeah. I saw some of my books on a book pirating site, actually.
Hell yeah.
So I just posted, hey, I don't mind you guys getting it for free. I honestly don't care, but if you do, please leave a review.
No, that's amazing.
I saw a couple of mine on some forum, and they kind of they were just there and buried by like a landslide of other books. So I think it was like an earlier version of my first and my second book. I have no idea how they got them. No idea.
Well,
I think
No
these
fucking
people, they
idea.
literally just like they follow Amazon or whatever, and they just, I don't know, they hack it. But as soon as I publish, it's on a couple sites.
that's what I
There's
was
like
gonna
one.
explain to this guy.
Yeah, it's on there. I'm sure yours is on there too. Like
Yep.
Mine?
it's on. I could check, but
Dude, that'd be great.
I think most everybody's is on there somewhere. There's a
Well,
couple where they just steal it, and I'm
It's,
just like,
it's
I know
impossible
it's gonna
not
be
to
stolen,
be
so
there.
I don't care. Just leave a review if you steal it.
I kind of helped people steal my music back in the day. Like we all kind of did. Like I got over 20,000 downloads on my band's first like major album. You know what I mean? And it's because not all of those were paid for. Definitely, you got to do some stuff. But I got over 20K.
You posted on some of the Blogspot ones.
I think we made it ourselves. Like we were like zip file, music leak website, go. You know what I mean? And we were trying to get one of those viral accounts to like post us, because like some of those would like post lists of all the new bands that they're checking out, like, and they're probably only going to check out good ones. So if your name is in there, other people are like just clicking download all. They're like, get a torrent of all these. Boom, 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 boom.
Actually, like, I was thinking back, I'm almost certain I actually did hear of your band through that way.
Well, we got over 20K, dude. And that was just like when we stopped counting.
This is probably the best way to promote new bands.
Yeah.
It was funny because, like, I was like, wait, We Are the Blog. I heard of you guys back in the day. Like, I didn't really listen to you much, but I know I heard of you, and I think it was, like, exactly what you were saying on one of those sites. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wait, I remember, like, this being recommended to be if you like this.
Yeah. No, 100%. And they'll just find their way in niche spots. And, like, yeah, people get it for free. But why are those people on those websites to begin with? Because they're pirates already. So, that it is what it is. And, like, let me paint you a picture here, right? They were acting like charging for a book is going to keep all the pirates away. No. Like you said, the moment you publish it, it's there, right? So it's like, let me paint a picture. It's like, we've seen a little bit of, like, drama in the Iron Age recently.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's say you're a salty, alienated author. You know all these names, like Michael Harris, Black Knight, A.C. Pritchard, et cetera, et cetera. These people that are just affiliated, and you got something to prove. So it's no skin off your teeth because you work a day job. Maybe you're selling your own books, whatever. It's no skin off your teeth to buy Michael Harris's new book, or just wait for one to go on sale, or just put the full price for like the $150K, $20, $30 book or comic or whatever it is. Just literally paying that price because as soon as that download is done, you're putting it on the website. So what you're doing is you're paying like $30 to kick somebody in the balls. If you approach it from like the perspective of it like not benefiting you, it's totally robbing the person. You know what I mean? Like these authors were saying about the free book bursts. Once it's free, it's always free. As if it wasn't free as soon as you published it anyway to certain people. Because like it just takes one person who's a seeder. They'll seed it. That seeder pays the $30. And then that's it. So a paywall doesn't stop shit for a true pirate.
Exactly.
It's part of their collection.
I just figure I figure the pirates, like, I haven't gotten any reviews yet, but I think I'll go back on one or two of those pirate sites and be like, hey, I'm the author. Just leave a review, okay?
Yeah, I condone this. Spread it around, but
this is
make it
this is
a review.
how it's done. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
how it's done. And some of the bands, let's say, how I heard about Sabaton, for example, was a friend of mine gave me. He had like an MP3 player, and he just said, "Oh, look, dude! Like this is some new band I found on the net. Do you like it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's really cool." So a lot of people here came to see them, even though they weren't the main band. They were like a support band that was back in the day, when pretty much they started. So yeah, this is probably the best way to promote someone's music or whatnot.
And yeah, like it sucks that so many people that really love your music are getting it for free, but like, I don't know, man, your name gets out there. It's just kind of like the day and age we live in, you know.
Yeah, it's free exposure.
Yeah, so you got to kind of just push further. It's almost like there's like that soft barrier between the numbers of sales that you get and the number of reviews you get. There's also a soft buffer with the number of pirating versus people that'll actually buy it. And I have a story for this that I'm going to share in a second here. I just realized the chat is kind of going nuts here. So Kahuna's back. Hail Kahuna. Welcome back, and thanks for coming. He's willing to advertise, he says. Talk to Herman. He does sales and has knowledge on this stuff.
Hermie!
Play on FOMO really hard, Mr. Mindflayer says, which is relevant. I was actually listening to something about how casinos anticipate human behavior, and this is part of it. Just a small part. There's a lot of complicated moving parts, but yeah, you can really play on that, especially with the book bursts, like opportunity. I mean, there's no repeatability, so it's not like gambling, but you got the opportunity and the fear of missing out, which, you know, helps a lot.
Yeah. That's why you always do a limited time with your cell.
Yeah, 100%. Kahuna says he misses physical media and that he buys things on iTunes, which is great. You support. Yeah. There you go.
Do not.
I was surprised people actually bought my music because, like, for me, I just kind of put it. For me, music is just a fun thing to do. So
this is how it starts.
Surprised.
This is how it starts. This is how it starts, dude. It's a fun thing. Yeah, it's a fun side project. 10 years later.
Yeah, that's how it starts. Hey, Andy, you can kind of do vocals. Maybe you should be our vocalist. I've never done that or aspired to do that, but sure. Let me put my bass down and just try. 10 years later, freaking on stage, and like, you've heard of me from across the. Were you in China when you were looking on those websites?
I think that it was before China, but I think I might have heard you while I was in China, but I'm pretty sure it was before China, like right before I moved to China.
Yeah. We were all over, like, okay, so I look back on like what my band did, and I'm like, you know, we were doing some right things. We had them, you could tell we had the mindset, you know, the motivation. We just didn't have the knowledge. That's the thing. So like we tackled social media pretty hard, and we were trying all kinds of tricks, you know, like leaking our own album to these websites and stuff like that, you know, and it worked. Like we grew beyond Minnesota. Like we could have organized and stubbornly toured until it stuck and continued to do that, and it would have just grew from there. But like, you know, day jobs and family and all that, and it just doesn't work out like that every time, you know.
Yeah. Musician life is not for everybody, and it's not easy.
True.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, I just kind of like started thinking of my indie experience with music, and when I was having this free book conversation, and I was like, a paywall doesn't really stop pirates, man. I'm just saying. And pirates aren't always the worst thing. And it doesn't mean your book is just 100% free to everybody all the time. It's still on Amazon, and people are still going to support you, which leads me to my story. But go on.
I was just going to say a lot of normies don't know about pirating. So a lot of them do, but a lot of them don't. So a lot of people will just be like, "Oh yeah, I'll just go to Amazon. That's the only place you can find it, right?"
Right. Right. No, like even people who know about pirating, right? They don't always pirate. Like Kahuna is like a dude in the indie scene here. He knows about pirating and all that. Like we've all heard of Napster and torrents and stuff. Doesn't mean we're going to seek it out actively just to screw over an artist, right? I'm not denying like the numbers aren't huge. You know, like you could probably go to like a Sanderson or a George Martin novel, and it's probably unfathomable to us, like millions of downloads. You know what I mean? But that's them, you know, and it's not like every little indie, for example. And like I said, if pirates get wind of your stuff, it means probably that's good stuff, or that they're talking about it. One of the things they did say, though, is when they gave their book away for free, it got them more haters than fans, which, I mean, that could benefit too.
Yeah,
also.
You can monetize your haters.
Yes. That's what I would actually suggest to them is like documenting all that, like bad faith stuff. If you're getting that much of it where it's noticeable, you can measure it like that, you can document all that bad faith stuff and just share it, and it's funny, you know, in some way, like whether it's YouTube or whatever. But yeah, the
especially if it's like identity politics and whatnot. There's enough Iron Agers and folk like us that'll be like, I'm gonna buy it now just because you're being such an idiot about it.
Like, what's this about? I'm gonna check it out.
It's I found a couple of readers who actually told me their stories of how they found and they were normies. How they found indie books, and they were pretty bored by like the trad pub stuff, the mainstream stuff. And one of them read, like they were just browsing Amazon, and they found a book, and it had like a lot of negative reviews, and I'm too sleepy. I can't remember the name of the book, but she was like, "Hey, they are calling this author like all those names, and they are writing in caps, all in caps, how they hate her and they want her to die and all sorts of horrible bullshit, and how racist she is and this and that. And by the way, the author was black.
So,
super.
Wow.
So anyways, totally. And she was like, I'm going to buy the book and see what is this like. Why is this all? Where is this hate and like revival coming from? I'm buying the book and reading it just to see why. And there are a lot of people who will do that. So, like you said, monetizing the haters.
Yes.
Sometimes they monetize themselves.
It might drive down that star rating. You know, you turn all of a sudden your book is a 1 star because only haters came flooding in. But you can still monetize it. You can still try to figure that out and turn a bad situation into a good one. Like the right group of people gets wind of that, they'll try to reverse it. You know, it could go viral for all you know. You know, you just gotta try your best, give it a shot. But Katie here says, let's hear everybody in their best band names. I think the one that Mindflayer posted earlier got her attention on that. Meth Witch.
Wow, it wouldn't let me ask if he was smoking them weeds. It blocked my comment.
What? Oh, wow.
It just said this comment failed to post. God, but it's really tiny.
Oh, man.
I see it on here. You spelled it with H in front.
Weeds. Mindflayer also says if he needs growling for no reason, if anybody needs it.
When I lived in Nebraska, there was weed grew everywhere naturally. It was pretty funny.
In Nebraska? That's pretty funny.
Yeah, like it wasn't the potent kind, like from what I've heard. But because I've never done smoked weed at all, but it was funny because like cows would get into it and it still had enough like THC to get them high. And I lived and worked at a Bible camp, so like we made a bouquet of flowers for the camp director and we put a lot of weed in it just to mess with him.
Yeah. Were you saying Black Knight something about the milk, I think?
Yeah, the milk. Yeah.
Get the milk for the
milk,
kids.
And then make the cheese with that milk.
Yep. I believe, what was it? It was something you said. Band name Michael Harris, Machete Party?
Yeah.
I think Gearhead says 07. And then...
oh boy. I didn't see... it's...
I do have...
Guys,
I have a
perfect, I'll leave you because it's 7 in the morning.
Oh.
I just want to... Yeah. It's... my eyes are shutting.
Like, oh, you're getting tired, buddy?
Yeah, I'm tired.
You can bow out if you need to. We can keep it going for a little bit longer. It is pretty long so far. So,
oof.
Hey, we appreciate you coming out.
That was
man.
That was a fun stream, but you know the time zones.
Yeah. You're a champion.
Nice meeting you. Thanks for coming on.
Before you do go though, Black Knight, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and all that, how they can support you.
Well, you can find me either on Minds or Gilded, and on Amazon. You can find me there, and you can find all of my 11 so far Starshatter books.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so have fun and
get
keep
on that, everyone.
Keep on reading, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, buddy.
Take care.
Night.
Yeah.
And then there was
I was saying I found a formula to get the perfect indie folk band name, no matter what.
I think I saw some of that.
Yeah, you just get a land feature and you combine it with the name of the tree, and it will always be like the perfect indie folk name band.
An aspect of nature and then a type of tree.
Yeah, like Dogwood Canyon, like Elm Ario. Just name a feature and like Pine Mountain.
Okay. Maple Canyon.
Yeah, works.
Yeah. Oak River.
Exactly. See,
River Oak.
foolproof.
Yeah.
Foolproof.
You could use that for books. Guarantee it.
Mm.
Guarantee it.
You could make like Amish romance series just with things like that.
Yeah. Well, you can name towns. Like, there's a lot of things you could do. Like River Oak.
Yeah.
Right? Like I just said, River Oak. That could be like a river town, around a forest or whatever.
Yeah. That's like I came up with a bunch of these. Like I made a power metal name band generator. I should actually get somebody who knows programming to help me actually make a little generator.
Yeah. That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Like the power metal one, you take something to do with extreme weather and something magical, and you can add, usually just like something magical and something extreme weather.
Magical plus extreme weather.
Like wizard tornado.
Oh, okay, yeah. Cyclops earthquake. That's more mythical than magical.
It was something better than that. I forgot exactly what I did, but it was something like that, like mage blizzard.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorceress tsunami.
That one sounds like a stoner metal band.
Yeah, Sorceress Tsunami. I'm about to drop Black Knight's Amazon in the chat for those who want it. And whoever's whoever's here on the rewatch, you can open up the live chat and see where we're at, and you'll see me post it. And it should pop up any second there. I hope it pops up. Is it even gonna work?
Just looked at the chat. Looks like it popped up.
Yep, it worked. Okay, cool. It didn't shrink in the private chat, so it's like it just looks like a bunch of nonsense. But I'll pull yours up here too, Michael.
Sounds good.
Just so it's ready to go when we're done. Oh yeah, your stuff searches really easy and quick. Just type in M. Anthony Harris. There it is.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah,
it's been a little while since I searched my own stuff.
It's all there. Yeah, it's like only you for a while.
Wow, cool.
But yeah, let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first 6 books.
Yep. Now I gotta write 6 more.
Yeah, then you can take the next 6 spots, bump these other nobodies with 92,000 reviews down.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy. 92,000 reviews, and then right below it, 145. But anyway, enough about that. I'll just pull this book here up. I'm pretty sure it's the one that you'd want. But yeah, as far as story beginnings, my dog says hi.
Hi, dog.
As far as story beginnings go, I really like to foreshadow with like the opening line of really anything. You could split up 2 sections of a chapter, and I'll still try to play around with those first words of the next scene. It's really satisfying. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I like. Well, I guess I'm more less thought out in my writing. I'm more of a pantser, more of just fly by the seat of the pants kind of guy. But I just always tell people, you just got to have a good hook, make it interesting.
For sure.
The start of the story, you want to grab their attention and then keep them long enough that you keep their attention.
Yeah. And it's like working a muscle. You you just get better at it over time too, with practice.
Yeah,
things make sense.
It's easier to do it starting with action, but it's a fun challenge trying to do that with no action.
Yeah, that's true. You do need like a compelling like scenario initially to even work with, because I mean I know there's good authors out there that could probably take a lot of mundane concepts and find some compelling thing about it to really twist at with the story and hook people. People have done it a few times for sure. But it definitely helps to have just like an interesting concept to begin with.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. As far as pantsing goes, I pants my dialogue usually. That's kind of where a lot of that comes into play. I'll bullet point out a lot of my stuff, and I'll kind of let like the meat fall onto the bone, if that makes sense. But I have my skeleton.
You generally do like, you generally plot it out, but then kind of fill in the plot.
I want the characters to do their own thing.
Yeah,
I don't want to spend all that time just mapping every little detailed thing, because then it's too rigid.
Yeah. When you say the characters do their own thing, are you talking about like actually the characters like speak in your mind and you kind of just hear their story? Or
Yep. I I hear it in my head, and I kind of have to just almost get in a trance or something. Just sit down in front of the computer, kind of just start the conversation, you know what I mean? And then when stuff jumps out at me, even if it sounds ridiculous, just kind of put it down and see what happens, you know what I mean? And there's a couple characters I can point to at my full length that really like, just there's no other way to describe it. They surprised me. I'll go back and I'll reread it, and I'm like, where the hell did this dialogue come from? I couldn't think of this, but I did. Just based on what I know about who this character is, where this situation is come. I don't necessarily even need a huge detailed backstory, even just like, okay, who's the character? What's his thing? Where's he at? What's he thinking? Boom. Now, like, all of a sudden words start coming out. You know what I mean?
Do you actually kind of think of it that way? Do you break it down, or?
Yeah, because I know it's coming up. I kind of like try not to just on a whim bust dialogue out, because I found that my smoothest writing, like, it's almost tempting to just not do any dialogue at first, and it's something to get over. At least it was for me. I think one of the first dialogues I did was like my protagonist early on giving like this speech, and it always comes off really cheesy to me, and it's just like a block of text, because there's no natural way to break that up unless you go out of your way to do that. You got to go out of your way to break that stuff up, which makes you a better writer. It extends your writing. It makes the story more compelling. But like, yeah, it's tricky, because once they go on for like 2 or 3 sentences saying like an empowered speech, what are you going to do? Like have people shout stuff back from the audience, heckle the person? That's really one of the few options. So you really got to get clever.
Yeah. I like when I have something like that, if I want to break it up, I like doing something like you show the reactions of the other people. They say, well, sometimes you tell the reactions of the other people. They say don't tell, show, but sometimes you can just be like, the crowd leaned in.
Oh yeah. Or there was a collective gasp or something.
Or you could feel the tension in the air as he spoke,
But so also with that, there's even still the problem where like you get paragraph size, and there's not going to be any more speakers So you basically are going to have to start a new paragraph of that same speaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just still speaking. You know what I mean? Because it's a one-sided conversation, or because it's a speech or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just
that
one of those
one, like, I like doing things like, you take a quick break and then say, like, he breathed in, he looked at the crowd, things like that. Just kind of taking a break because, like, people, there's speeches, but we notice, like, even when we're watching speeches, we're watching the people around us and how they're reacting to speeches. So, just breaking that up in the book and letting your readers see, oh, this is how the crowd's reacting. He's watching them react. He might be changing what he's saying according to how they're reacting, things like that.
Right. And that's kind of what I ended up developing, throughout the course of writing the novel. It was a lot of, figuring that kind of stuff out. And you can kind of see where that pantsing dialogue just kind of is beamed into my head, because I'm on that train of thought of, like, so you're trying to make your sentences flow. Like you were just talking, like we were just discussing how to break it up, you know what I mean? And have this rhythm and flow to your writing. You know what I mean? When you're already kind of tapping into that state, it's really easy for just the things that are being said in the conversation to start, like, aligning with that, if that makes sense. So, like, I'm so focused on, like, smoothing out my writing, breaking up my paragraphs and all that. And then it could be a scene that's heavy dialogue, a conversation between two people, and all of a sudden some different reaction that they say pops in my head. You know what I mean? Like, and I just gotta chase that when it pops up, because I feel like it's so organic when I'm not trying to think of it.
Yeah. For me, like, because I have something called aphantasia, so basically I don't see any images in my head.
Oh,
and I also don't have an internal monologue, so basically there's no sight, no sound in my imagination. So, like, it's interesting hearing people, like, talking about, like, how they actually break things down, how they think deeply about it. For me, it's quite literally stream of consciousness, because, like, I know all the stuff and I know all the beats in my subconscious, because, like, it's figuring it out. It's like, oh, this is what would happen, but I don't actively think about it as I write it, because I just, like, have already processed it in my subconscious, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like, it's just kind of like there already. The blueprint just kind of goes.
Exactly. I just start writing. I'm like, oh, I already have the blueprint in my mind.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it, but now that I'm putting it on paper, I know this fits the story, and I know this is what this character would do there. And, like, I don't have the visual or audio imagination of it. It's just kind of what would happen.
Yeah. There was one scene where this particularly stands out to me, because the character revealed some of his motivation in his last moments, and I didn't even realize that kind of motivation was there. And as this organic dialogue kind of unfolds throughout your story, by the end of the story, your characters are so different than where they began. And I'm not even talking from, like, a character growth perspective. I'm talking from a behind the scenes depth perspective. Because, like, you start with these ideas with the characters, and then just as the story unfolds, like I said, he revealed, like, some of his motivation in his last moments, and I didn't know it until he was having his last moments, because I thought of something clever that would, like, just drive the dialogue more. You know what I mean? I heard some more random stuff, almost like the character was actually, like, telling me his motivations. So I was just like, okay, it was just, like, kind of a moment for me. They say no tears from the author, no tears from the reader. And that one, I was like, okay, I like this character a lot more.
Yeah.
Moments like that.
It's good when you're, as a writer, you write your work and then you go back and read it and you're like, dang, I want to cry, or dang,
yeah,
this is really good.
And it adds that that extra thing. Like once you finish your book and you go back and you're like rereading it, you can make those emotional beats even crazier. You can just crank them up because like the whole story's unfolded. All the behind the scenes stuff has been fleshed out just through you trying to think of things that these characters might say based on what's being said now, for example. So you get into their psyche more just by having dialogue scenes. You know, it's one thing that like I really hated, like for example, the Game of Thrones novels at first, for just talk. I'm talking. I'm telling the story through conversation. This is a screenplay, actually. This is secretly a screenplay, and we're just a bunch of characters talking. But it grew on me over time, you know, and I kind of realized why he does that. He's a self-proclaimed gardener or pantser, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the right term. Am I lining that up correctly? Is gardener the pantser equivalent, or is that the plotter equivalent? Or is he saying he's both? Sure. I can't remember. But I think that's what he's doing there. I think he's having free-form dialogue with a basic idea of what he wants to get through on the scene. But what is actually happening there is he's trying to develop characters and get into their psyche. And he just kind of like leaves it all there and then publishes it. But you know, I don't blame him for that, because like I said, you can go back and then just add that extra, you know, sprinkle on top of the entire story with this character, and it gets crazy. And then you get those moments where you're like, damn, I'm gonna cry.
Yep.
You know, but I digress. There's also moments though too where like your protagonist can say some shit that just like surprises you. It's like, ooh, maybe I don't put that. It's a little brutal. Or whatever.
Yeah. It's, for me, one of the interesting things is trying to find the balance of like with the violence, having it brutal but not like horrifically gory, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and even insults, you don't want to make them cartoonish. But yeah, go on.
Thanks, Kahuna.
All right. What were you saying though? Like the relationship between the violence and not too much?
I was just saying, like, because one thing I've like almost every review I've had of my books, like that's one thing they all point out is like, oh, he writes really good action, and that's one of the things. Like, I'm a teacher here, and I've been trying to think, are my books appropriate for kids? Because like the worst cursing I have, like actual cursing, worst cursing I have is like hell. Like, what the hell?
That's not bad.
And like, and then one of my other books, like their made up curse word is like Emperor's balls. And then
it's not that bad.
I'm just trying to think, like, with the violence standpoint, like if I would recommend it to, like, what ages I would recommend. But like everybody who's read my books, they're like, yeah, he does action really well. And I just read a review, like the newest review of one of my books, and they were basically saying like he does it well with, he like can do action that's visceral but not like overly gory, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting line to be able to draw.
Oh, for sure.
Where is it gory and where is it just, you know, strong and visceral, but not like gross.
Yeah, I found that actually really difficult to pinpoint the age bracket that my current published book is. I ended up changing the age after the fact. So like after freshly writing it, I'm like kind of down in the dumps about myself as far as like the maturity level. I'm like, man, it's really brutal. It's like there's some blood in there. People are getting stabbed in the throat, stuff like that. But when I start like actually comparing it to stuff like people getting their heads cut off on Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, it really isn't that crazy. And I get poetic with the words. So it's like,
Yeah.
I kind of realized it's really just kind of up to the parents. And
Yeah.
I don't have any sexual explicit stuff, anything
Yeah.
like that. There's no curse words. I don't even think a single curse word. So the worst you get is this really poetic, gory stuff that happens sometimes. And even the violence, it's not like I said, I try to get like flowery with it, to try to lessen the blow. I'm going to describe something horrific to you in a beautiful way. And it's going to make you disgusted, but then visualize it in like a painting or something is like my goal. Pull the punch.
That's definitely a skill. I'm more just in your face.
Yeah.
I think we're almost on opposite ends of the writing spectrum. You're like the symbolism, more beautiful prose guy. I'm just like the bare bones in your face guy.
And that's good, dude. That's what Sanderson does. That's like part of what makes him so effective and prolific. And guess what? You're prolific and effective. You know what I mean? That's something, I mean, I'm kind of thinking out loud at this point, but like, yeah, you guys have that in common. You're both idea guys. And when you get the idea, you do it. And then you do the next thing, It's freaking awesome.
I think that's a good way to put it. You would be more like the less annoying version of well, not annoying version of dude who wrote Name of the Wind. I forgot.
Oh God, Rothfuss.
Yeah, Rothfuss.
Yeah.
He's a loser in real life, but his writing he has great prose.
That's what I hear. I listened to his audiobook and it could not grab me. I'm thinking I need a Rothfuss super nerd to like break down why everybody loves it.
Yeah.
To me.
For me, it was interesting because I thought like he has 2 books in that series out. The first book I thought was really good. The second book, I was like, this is beautifully written, really dumb wish fulfillment fantasy.
Rothfuss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the first book, I was like, I get why people really like this. Like it's well written, the characters are well done, the prose is really good. And then I read the second book, I was like, the prose is really good, and the rest is just horny wish fulfillment.
I don't know if he's doing kind of any. I saw a couple people mention that there might be some 4D chess going on. Like, I didn't pick up any whiffs of symbolism that I could think of from like the first book, but it's been a while since I read it, and it was so long. It was so long of a book that I am having trouble finding myself wanting to return to it.
Yeah,
just because it's kind of a task, like.
Yeah,
and you're talking.
if it's a task, don't bother.
Yeah, it's another reason why I'm kind of thinking about like maybe not doing a 150,000 word epic like we were talking about before stream. I think like dividing books up and stuff.
Yeah,
but then
I like some of those giant chunker books, so that's why I wrote one. But I also I think each one has its place. I'll probably write another couple of giant chunkers, but also keep to like the 400 pagers.
Well, because like Black Knight was saying, there is people out there that like everybody has their own thing. There's people who are like, oh, that's too long. but there's also people who are like, oh, that's too short. You know?
Yeah, for me, like I'm totally fine reading like all Sanderson's 1,000-page novels.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I'm like, oh yeah, no problem with that.
I love longer books, but there was something about Name of the Wind. It was just like, how do I explain this? Like, it almost didn't match up. Like, the beginning was a slow beginning, I think, and I think it was delivered in a weird way.
Yeah,
like I think he was trying to do something that I missed, and it just kind of threw me off, and it felt like a detour. But like once the book, basically from the halfway point to the end, is pretty all right. But like I couldn't tell you anything about the beginning really. Like I don't know, man. It's like it's been a while, so it's like I should return to it. I am somebody who loves longer books because I work in a warehouse as my day job, and I can just sit there and listen to a book all day. So I love just like immersing myself in a book. But I don't know, something about that book. Maybe it was like the wish fulfillment thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think in the first book, like it's there, but it's not as obvious. But in the second one, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Maybe you just caught on to that where I didn't in the first book.
Maybe. And I can't say any one thing. Like I can't specifically. And there's like worse books out there. Like
yeah, sometimes there's also good stuff that you just don't vibe with it.
Yeah, and I really want to vibe with Rothfuss too, because he sounds like in the same vein as me. Like people, like I've seen superfans say that he's doing stuff with the writing, but I can't remember anything specific that they said, which they weren't being specific. They were just like hinting at like, oh, like he's doing crazy stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like what? Tell me. Like, is he like doing what I don't know. I could go into symbolism and foreshadowing and like the relationship with that and ramble on about that. But like, yeah, were we live when I was talking about Odin?
I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But we're getting close to 3 hours here, so I'll avoid like opening up another can of worms.
Yeah. Yeah, I should probably be heading out in probably about 10 minutes.
Oh, word. That's good timing. It's good timing. Well, where can people find you, man?
You can find me over at Twitter. My old account got nuked.
Yeah.
So I used my older account that I never used. Then I made it my main account. Let me see, what is it? I forgot because it's almost the same as the other one. M_Anthony Harris over at Twitter. And you can also find me on Gilded as well. I'm on the Drink with Crazy server, and I also have my own server I can share. Let me link that up.
Oh yeah.
Let me find that. I'll link that and send it in the private chat to you.
Oh yeah, and I'll drop it in the live chat. Here we go.
There we go. And you can also find me over at Amazon. And let me see if I can open that up really quickly. I have some of my next book will be I'll do at Amazon and others. I'm kind of alternating certain books. I'll do only Amazon, like Red Skies, because the sales are like just getting a little bit of the Kindle Unlimited helps is just about as much as I would make keeping it on giving it on other platforms.
Yeah. The Kindle Unlimited stuff is interesting.
But some ones like the Sherlock Hamster series I'm working on, I'll do that through like Books to Read, so I can get it on like some apps like Overdrive and have libraries buy copies.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. like, I don't know. I heard stuff about Amazon doing some fishy stuff lately, so I would like to eventually drift away from there. But
yeah, hopefully one day we can have like our own Kindle service that's free of all that crap.
Mm-hmm. Well, somebody just needs to basically offer print on demand.
Yeah, I think one cool thing would be just having like print on demand, and basically like how having blockchain print on demand. So like you could have like, you know, your Iron Age people have their own, and if there's some that, you know, like don't want the sexual stuff there, they have their own little blockchain section, and you go there. But you know, a lot of the Iron Age comics are a little more horny, so you go to that separate section like that, and just kind of have little blockchain islands of print on demand, and you could kind of be together, but not like exactly cross pollinate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you could be separate, but like still under the same umbrella or whatever.
Yeah, and that each server could have its own like TOS. Like this one, you know, this one you don't post this kind of stuff here. You go over to this other server, and they'll post it there, kind of like that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I dropped your links in the chat here. I won't keep you too much longer. Hey, babe, do you want to tell everybody where we can find you? And
yeah, sorry, I have like the worst headache, so I'm just like, yeah, we can find me at Moonzilla Tarot on Facebook and Twitter, also Moonzilla Tarot. TikTok is MZ Tarot.
Nice. And you can find me on Twix at A_C_Pritchard, and on Amazon at amazon.com/author/AC Pritchard. And Kahuna says, "Woo! Good night, y'all." And I'm going to concur with that.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on.
Good night, y'all. For me, it's the start of the afternoon, but
I appreciate you coming on, brother.
Yeah,
thanks for having me on.
Enjoy that sweet little baby bundle.
I will.
He's adorable.
And thanks everyone in the chat.
Thanks.
You guys have a good night.
Adios. 再见。